Hi everyone, my name is Marjorie and welcome to my channel, Jetersblessings. Today I'm participating in this playlist that's hosted by Devin from Freckled Mom DIY, and the inspiration for today's video is nature. So come along and enjoy the video, and please don't forget to check out the playlist in my description box below to see all the other creators and their wonderful creations. So today, for my first DIY, I've got this beautiful grapevine pumpkin wreath frame that I got from Craft Outlet. And I've got a bunch of different floral picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. I've just attached one set of the picks from on the grapevine wreath. And here I just put the second bundle together, and I'm going to attach that with some zip ties. I know it looks like I'm struggling here a little bit, and I am, but I'm trying to put the zip tie in the grapevine, which holds these, excuse me, which holds the floral in place really well. And then here all I'm doing is kind of fluffing out my floral picks, getting them there where I want them to be. So this takes a little bit of time sometimes, just getting the placement right, as many of you I'm sure already know, because I'm sure most of you already have attempted some floral arrangements of some type. But once I get it to where I like it, I'm now going to take my Easy Bow Maker, and I'm going to use a couple of different 1.5 inch ribbons that I got from Craft Outlet. And I'm just going to make a bow. So when I do these types of wreaths, I make sure that my tails on my bows are not very long. I typically like to start with 8-inch tails and 6-inch loops. Sometimes I'll go with a 5-inch loop. It just really depends. And just, you know, as far as the placement, the space that's in between the florals is really going to depend on how big my loops are. But I like to start with the 8-inch tails because, you know, if I end up cutting some of it off, then it's easy to do that, but it's definitely not, there's no way that if I cut it too short and I want it longer, then I'm going to make it longer. So, I mean, I'd like to try to not waste as much if possible. But here I take my scissors and I'm just cutting these at an angle. You are more than welcome to cut them at a dovetail, but if you've been watching my channel for any length and watched me make bows, then you know that for my 1.5 inch ribbon, I like to just cut slants in them. Anything that's like 2 or 2.5 or above, then that's where I like to actually do my dovetails. I don't do slants in those. So here I'm just taking a couple of zip ties. I put one at the very bottom, which I don't think you can see, but I put it there because I'm going to use it to attach to the wreath frame. So there you go, you see it there. So then I'm just going to take and fluff out my bow a little bit. Make sure that I take those tails and kind of give it a curve. And then, because when you give it a curve like that, it definitely makes your bows a little bit fuller. And I love that look. I love everything to be full, and I'm crazy about ribbon. I love ribbon, and the potential that these bows can give your projects is, I mean, truly amazing. But I just attach my bow there, and as I go and kind of, not really fluffing it out, I'm just finding a placement. So as you see there, I just trimmed that a little bit shorter, and it's because I don't want the tails to cover up too much of the florals, or sometimes it could be my sign and I don't want it to cover up too much of the wording or design of my sign. So that's what I am basically just doing there until I get it the way I want. So here I'm off onto my second project, and I am taking Two of the wood planks that come in I think it was a 5 or a 6 pack. I think a 6 pack. And I've got some tumbling tower blocks. So what I'm doing here is I'm attaching those tumbling tower blocks to one side of, well, it's better to watch than actually listen to my jibber jabber. My brain has not been working this week at all. Oh my goodness. But yes, as you see, I attached 5 of the tumbling tower blocks to each of the wood planks. And I've got these wood painter sticks. Okay, and I am hot gluing those to the wood planks. And that's why I put the tumbling tower blocks on, so it would give it more surface area for me to attach these wood paint sticks, stir sticks. Anyway, so I attach 2 on both sides. I'm actually going to leave one of the bigger sides open, and I take 6 of the other paint sticks. So yeah, you need 1 pack of the 1 gallon paint stir sticks. And I just space them out evenly, and then I will go in and I will attach them with some hot glue. So I use the Gorilla hot glue, and it works miracles. Like, truly, it's a very strong hold, and I don't have to worry about my projects falling apart. I don't even worry about having to put like wood glue on there for it to be a little more lasting. I have projects that I've made previously, like last year and stuff, that all I did was use the hot glue, and they're still in perfect condition. So, but it's up to you if you want to add the wood glue on your own. But I just go ahead and I attach all the wood stir sticks on here, and like I said, evenly distribute them throughout. The spacing on the front is a little bit smaller than the spacing in between the 2 sticks on the sides, and that's okay with me. Excuse me. So what I'm actually making with this one is a pumpkin. And I'm taking my chalk paint in the color Sage, and my absolute favorite color, and I am just going to paint all the nooks and crannies. I'm actually going to do even the insides of the pumpkin to just make sure it has a full coverage, because you could actually use this and display it in different ways. So when it was mostly dry, I went back in with this antique wax in my lid that I had kind of already added a little bit of water to thin it out, and I'm just doing some distressing on it. And as I'm distressing, I realized that I actually forgot to do a step on this pumpkin that I wanted to do. And so what I actually go back and do is I take 2 stir sticks and I will cut it down, and you'll see that here in a minute. I'll cut them down because I'm going to use that on the front of the pumpkin. So these are the 2 pieces that I cut down, and again, I just slap it down there with some of the hot glue, and I do use one of the stir sticks to cover up those little grooves at the top of the handle on the stick, so that way you don't really see them. But I don't really mind it anyways, because I think it gives it a little bit of character. So I mean, it's still on the sides, but I just did this because I thought I don't know, that's just where I decided to place it. And I go back in and I I paint it with my Sage, and I do also do the distressing with the antique wax as well. I really don't know why I showed you guys all that painting. Um, I guess I didn't realize it was as long as it was. I'm sorry. But hey, if you like to watch people paint and see the outcome, then that's a plus. But as you could tell, I didn't even wait for the paint to dry on these two little pieces of wood. And I just automatically just took the antique wax and painted over it. I really like the technique of not letting the first coat of paint dry completely or even dry at all before I start distressing it, because I just like how the paint and stuff tends to blend in a little bit better. So I take this word, I think I got this from a pack from Hobby Lobby, and if I remember right, it has thankful, grateful, and blessed in it. I think there's 2 of each of the words. Anyways, I just take that and I, cover it in the antique wax. Of course, it was watered down. And I just glue this little word right on the front of this pumpkin, right in the middle. I like it. I think it is very cute. It's very simple. And yes, I will dress it up a little bit at the top. I've got some of these leaves, these maple leaves from the Dollar Tree. And I really love these. It's just got like a hint of orange and maybe a little bit of hint of yellow or greenish yellow, but I really like that more than I do like the bright orange. And I got the blue maple leaves too because I really like them because they're unique, but I haven't done anything with them yet. I probably need to figure out something to do with it. And I've got this ribbon. It's, I think, a 1-inch ribbon, and it was from Walmart, and it was like after Christmas. And here I'm just making a simple bow. I basically do 2 loops, a small loop and a big loop, and I tie it together. And with the big loop, I cut it in half, and that makes my tails. I like to make my bows this way, my little simple bows this way, because I'm really weird. I like the tails to be in the back of the loops, and I know some of the other really simple bows that people do, like one of the tails is in the front and one of the tails is in the back. Anyways, y'all probably don't even know what I'm talking about and are wondering what is this crazy lady talking about. But anyways, like I said, I just really like to have both of my tails in the back and not in the front. So here I just add the maple leaves and the little bow, and in the center of the bow I add a little mini leaf that I got from Hobby Lobby after Thanksgiving sale last year, I believe. So now I've got these little pickberries or whatever they're called from the Dollar Tree from last year. And I just take some of that and I wrap it around that little pumpkin stem, which, by the way, were those little wood piece stems that you get from the Dollar Tree. And I'd got several packs a couple years ago because my daughter was going to get married and we were going to use it as part of the decor. But then COVID hit and they didn't get to have the big wedding that they wanted. So I've got a ton of those in stock. So I'm glad to do these projects and use them. So on to my third DIY. This process was pretty much the same. I actually started this this project before I started the last one, but I ended up finishing. So I started this, was waiting on it to dry or something. And then, no, I wanted to do all the gluing and attaching everything together. So I put this one all together first. And then I had started the other one, painted it, and finished the other one. So now I'm really going back to this one. That's why you see me here kind of struggling with keeping these, the painter sticks up. And that's when I'm doing this project that you'll see that I like, oh, light bulb, and I use the um, tumbling tower pieces. So, just in case you're like, why did she do it one way and the other one and then another way in this one? So, I'm not that crazy. Maybe just a little bit, but not that crazy to not make the connection. So, here I am, and this is where I've discovered I could use the tumbling tower blocks, and so I'm putting that on there, and I'm getting those attached pretty good. And then I'll just go through and I will space out the rest of my paint stir sticks. So this project here was really more for just to make as a riser for some of the other decor, but either way I still like it. This portion of this video could actually be used year round, because once I glue everything on there, all I do is I simply take the watered down wax and I just give the entire thing a really good coat inside and out in all the little crevices in between each of the wood pieces. So yeah, I'm sure you all know the struggle with that, but yeah. This was a pretty easy and simple. I left it bare just because I wanted to be able to use it year round. I mean, I guess I could have put some kind of word that I could use year round, like blessed or whatever on it, but I just chose to keep that one a little simple. On to my next project, and by the way, if you guys haven't realized yet, yes, you will see all the finished products at the end of the video. So what I've got here is more of the tumbling tower blocks, and I am making 8 rows of 5 no, yeah, I can't add 8 rows of 5 tumbling tower blocks glued together, and then 2 sets glued on top of each other. And then once I've got those 4 pieces together, then I am just going to glue them together to make a box. And this is just going to be a non-traditional pumpkin. So when I said my video was from nature, the 2 things I really based my projects off was wood and pumpkins. So this here, I'm actually making a wooden pumpkin, and yes, it's square. When I showed my husband, he was like, why is that square? I was like, well, it's made from tumbling tower blocks. So I knew I wanted it to be a pumpkin, and here I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to cover the top piece to have something for the top embellishments to attach to. And here I'm just kind of playing around with the tumbling tower blocks, but I'll eventually get my stuff together and figure out how I want it done. And I originally wanted to cover the entire box. I mean, not the entire box, the entire top end, but I couldn't get the configuration of the tumbling tower blocks glued together, and I really didn't want to have to go and cut down any pieces of the tumbling tower block. I was being really lazy this day, and just because I don't know about you guys, but when I do crafts for a video, I do it all in one day. So, you know, once you're sitting there doing crafts for hours and stuff, and sometimes I shoot DIYs for crafts more than one video, so I tend to get lazy sometimes, and that's what I did. But as you see, I did put it all together to make a top, and it just did not work. And I was testing it out, didn't like it, but you'll see what I did here in just a minute, in just a little bit. I actually ended up putting that original 5-piece set that I had made for it originally, and I put that in the center of the top. That way all it had to do was mainly you could see it a little bit better there. But that way it had something to attach to. And I will say one of the things that I did mess up on is I should have put maybe like a craft stick or something on the back of that side of that piece, because when I got to putting the stem on, I pushed a little too hard and I didn't use as much glue as I normally do. I was in a rush and I just flubbed it up, but I excuse me, so I had to go back in and attach some other wood on the inside to make it a little bit more sturdy. And so here I am, just covering the top of the pumpkin with this yarn. And I actually got this yarn, I really like it. It's kind of like a real thick chunky kind of yarn I got from Walmart, and it was about $7, but I've done quite a bit of different projects with it. So here's my bag of those stems again, and this is actually where I do it a little too hard, trying to make sure, and it kind of, see, it just popped there. And so I'm just trying to figure out how to, I'm trying to hold it on the inside enough to make sure that the stem glued to it. And then again, like I did with the other sage pumpkin, I just glued on some of these maple leaves. And I'll add a bow and just kind of embellish it to my liking. So I do want to take the time to say thank you for everybody stopping by to watch my video. I want to thank all the subscribers that continue to support me and my channel, and I thank all the new viewers. I hope that you like my content and decide to subscribe. And if you would, just leave any comments below. Let me know what you like, what your favorite project was, or even any, comments on maybe what I could do better, or your version of what I could have done with these. So here I am just adding on that little bow, and I actually tried to give it a little twist, make the little, what are those the tails, give it a little bit of extra design, and I just add these little berries on here. I was really kind of struggling with the twist of these tails. I don't know why, but I do finally get it to where I like it. And just, to me, that what I just did there, where you roll the tail up on itself, it works better. Typically I like to have like a pencil or even a hot glue stick, and I'll roll it up on, and then I can just actually help curl it that way. So for my next project, I've got this little pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, and I got that cheetah print. Now I don't know about you guys, but I like the cheetah print, and so I'm taking it and just making it a non-conventional pumpkin. So I got the fabric from Walmart, and here I am just stuffing all that fabric into this pumpkin, trying to make sure that everything is really nice and tight around the pumpkin, but while I'm covering it up. That's just how I prefer it. I prefer it to have a tight fix on it than a tight fit, not a tight fix, my lord. I like to have a tight fit on it. And then I'm just taking more of those stems and, oops, sorry for all that shaking, goodness. putting it in there, and then I'm just gonna do a couple of little, I was gonna do the leaves, but then I was like, well, I've already had the leaves on everything. So I got these little hop things, these little hop florals. I can't remember the correct name for it, but anyways, I got those, and I thought, well, this is a non-traditional pumpkin. I can just, decorate it with some non-traditional florals. So I just added a couple of those little cute things on there and call it a day. I think it turned out really cute. I really like this one. Easy, quick, simple, inexpensive, and just the cutest thing. And the best thing is I did not have to give the pumpkin a base coat so it wouldn't be seen through the fabric. I just absolutely love that. So I'm struggling here because I made everything so tight, and so I'm trying to get this one stem in here, and yes, I'm struggling, but I do get it in there. It only took me a little longer than what I wanted. So then here is this. I do believe this is my last DIY in this video. I'm sorry, I made this video several days ago and don't quite remember if this is the last one, but I do think so. Anyways, I got this pumpkin from Hobby Lobby. It was 50% off in the fall, and I got the Hello Fall words also from Hobby Lobby, which were 50% off. So this big pumpkin was like $7, and I paid half of that, and then the words was like, I want to say $5, and I paid half of that. So really inexpensive. So I just, again, go in with my sage green paint and I actually give the entire pumpkin a coat of this sage green, the front and the back. I don't do the stem, but I do the front and the back. Just because I don't know if I want to keep this one or if I'm thinking about selling it. And so I didn't really know. So I figured I need to go ahead and paint it in case I do decide to sell it. So once I did that, here I go again with my antique wax watered down, and I just go over the edges and I make the little designs in the middle of the pumpkin to kind of give it its more shape to it. And then I do go back with, I do believe, a light distressing as well, but I really like how it turned out. This is the first time I've done this, so I do actually really like how it turned out. And if you can't tell, I'm really into the sage green and the antique wax, the whites, creams, stuff like that for the fall colors. So yeah, and I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a little bit of blue because it's non-traditional too, and I'm kind of liking the non-traditional. I like the orange, but I like to do things a little bit different out of the ordinary. So here's what the pumpkin ended up looking like. So I got this brown wired cord from a friend. She gave it to me for free, and so I thought, yeah, this would be super cute on this piece of decor. Now let me tell you, first off, it was hard to manipulate around there and get it to stay. And second of all, I don't really think, once I got the florals and everything else on it, I don't think I really needed to add that on there. I probably could have just went with painting the stem, but I really wanted the stem darker, and so I should have painted the stem the darker brown and then just removed that jute cord and used some of this cord as the hanger, but I didn't think about it. Didn't realize it until after everything was put together, so it was a little too late. So if I do make another one of these, then I do know what to do a little bit differently. So sorry you guys are seeing me struggle, but like I said, this was actually quite a little bit thick. So as you see, it looks good up there. But here with the Hello Fall, I actually took and just painted it with some white chalk paint. And I'm just going to hot glue this right on top of this pumpkin. Again, this is a very quick and inexpensive DIY that anybody could do, even the beginners. So I get that on there where I want to place it, and then like with some of the other wall decors and that you see, I have actually placed oh my goodness, bows and floral picks on. I'm going to do that here. So I really went with, I tried to go with a smaller bow, but again, you guys, I love bows, and for some reason, even if I try to make them small, they still end up a little bit bigger. So I actually went ahead and cut these 6-inch tails, because I knew I didn't want them too long, because I didn't want it to cover the Hello Fall wording. So I went ahead and went with the 6-inch tails. Now what you could do also, which I did not do, is you could still do some little longer tails and kind of curl them up like I did on that wood pumpkin, and how I made the little curly cute tails. You could actually do that if you wanted to as well. I like doing the little curly spirals with the smaller ribbon, like the 1.5 inch ribbon. Not so much for the 2.5 inch ribbon, but I mean, that's just everybody's preference. I really don't have any rhyme or reason with these bows. Like I knew that this little plaid piece was the last of the roll, so I wanted to use it up. So I really didn't have to put in that last layer, but again, I didn't want to waste that piece, of plaid, so I went ahead and added another layer of each of the different 1.5 inch ribbons. And then I'll go ahead and zip tie those together so I can attach them to the wreath. So here's the final product. This is so stinking cute. I took those little leaves from Hobby Lobby, and I kind of just glued them all over the place like the leaves were falling, and I just think it turned out so stinking cute. And then here is my other projects all put together. I think they came together very nicely. Sorry for that shadow there, but I really like how everything turned out. Tell me how you guys feel about these the cheetah print for different things nowadays. I think it's super cute. I used to not like cheetah print, but now this year I don't know, I really like it. But I do want to say thank you again for stopping by and watching my video. And I do hope that you go and check out everybody's video in the description box. And if you came from the playlist, thank you so much for stopping by. You guys have a blessed day.